Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Daily Recovery Snack, Sunday, February 8th. Hope everybody's doing good out there. Um, Ready to dive right in. Try not to get blown over the hill here in Southwest Virginia. Still cold and very windy. So there's the daily weather report from Southwest Virginia as well. All right, let's dive in. 24 hours a day book from Hazelton. February, what did I say? 8th. Outstanding. Should be that hard to find, right? Next one from yesterday. Sorry, y'all. All right. Thought for the day. When the morning sun comes up on a nice bright day and we jump out of bed, we're thankful to God that we feel well and happy instead of sick and disgusted. Serenity and happiness have become much more important to us than the excitement of drinking, which lifts us up for a short time, but lets us way down in the end. Of course, all of us alcoholics had a lot of fun with drinking. We might as well admit that. We can look back on a lot of good times before we became alcoholics. But the time comes for all of us alcoholics when drinking ceases to be fun and becomes trouble. Question: have I learned that drinking can never again be anything but trouble for me? Meditation for the day. I must rely on God. I must trust Him to the limit. I must depend on the divine power in all human relationships. I will wait and trust and hope until God shows me the way. I will wait for guidance on each important decision. I will meet the test of waiting until a thing seems right before I do it. Every work for God must meet this test of time. The guidance will come if I wait for it. I pray that I may meet prayer for the day. I pray that I may meet the test of waiting for God's guidance. I pray that I will not go off on my own. Immediately, I think it stands to reason. Very few of us, I think, probably took a first drink and it was nothing but trouble, downhill, bam, 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 bam. First drug, nothing but trouble, bam, 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 bam. And maybe some of us that was our experience. If so, I hope that you were lucky enough to go ahead and walk away. For me, I can relate greatly. A lot of us alcoholics had a lot of fun with drinking and drugging. Alcoholics drinking, whatever. Says we might as well admit it. For the longest time, I thought recovery was about me going in there and being all hateful and hatred toward some of the actual good times that I had. Early recovery for me was weird. I just kind of put on what I always did, a mask of what I thought others were looking to see from me and want to see from me, so that I fit into this recovery community. As it was, I was learning more about it. Kicking and screaming, if you will. But that was kind of one of my coping mechanisms, is just to morph into what I thought somebody wanted to see. But I thought I was supposed to hate it. I thought I was supposed to hate all of it. Now, granted, the sickness piece is a lot different than the early on piece. And truth be told, that you couldn't nail it any better than that. I did have a lot of fun. If you happen to be anybody from my hometown where I grew up, we might have had some fun together. That's just the way that is. But that is not where it took me, and that is not where I go back. I've been to 3 rehabilitation centers and many relapses, and it just doesn't go back to the fun. Although my disease projects me back to a point to where when it pops in my head and thinks it's a real good idea to do something, it sends me back to the good times, not to the depression and the darkness and the being somebody that I never wanted to be, never intended to be. I like the passage in there about the rely on God, trust Him to the limit, depend on the divine power. If I will wait and trust and hope, God will show me the way. Man, that's how I live my life today. When I'm in tune, when my spiritual condition is tightened up to where it needs to be, it is being maintenanced, man. I literally look at the world as I go through my day through the eyes of what God would have me see, and what it would have me, gather from what I'm seeing to see what it is literally that maybe I'm supposed to, be involved with next, or more importantly, not involved with. I've spoken on that before. Everything doesn't require me to be a part of. Everything might be a train wreck that I don't need to be in. So I just move on with a grin if it's not something that I actually need to be involved with. But I know a thing, good or bad, really close upon the initial, vision of what I see. And I believe that my God, if I just go out and start looking around and living in this blessing that I call recovery, my recovery program or whatever, I'll see certain things throughout the day, and some of them will strike me differently as to where I feel like I might need to be involved, or I might could do something that could help. And if I'm real lucky, I could do it maybe anonymously, because, especially in the early beginning or whatever, I might be getting in there starting to feel good in early recovery and want to help stuff, but I was still sick enough to make sure that I wanted somebody to see me. I wanted somebody to see my good deed or whatever, man. It wasn't true humility. It wasn't true grace. And that's okay in the beginning. What it was progress, that I even gave a damn enough about anybody else to try to do something good anyway. So I try to live in that perpetual state these days of being, remembering how things were and being real grateful about how things are now. And it's real simple for me. I remember how it was. I understand clearly being sober and in recovery a while how it is now. And the biggest piece that I try to speak about when I do my groups or whatever is the piece in the middle. What happened in the middle from then to now? That's the work part. That's the work part. So anyway, I'm probably starting to ramble again. I appreciate y'all being with me. I've got playlists out there. Please like, share, subscribe. If you know somebody else that's in recovery, it might get some kind of value in this thing, trying to build it up. I'll be back tomorrow, Lord willing, for a Magic Monday. I like Mondays these days, man. I just don't feel like I used to, man, after having a weekend off. It's kind of nice to wake up and just have everything be okay, for the most part. So, y'all have a blessed day. Stay safe and warm out there. Don't get blowed over the hill if you're anywhere around this windstorm. And look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Thanks so much for joining. Bye-bye.